this. I could drop little bars if I wanted to, but that's not what this type of show is. This isn't a music show. This is a football show. And the last time I was here, it was actually on a Monday, February 14th, 2022, the day after the Super Bowl in which the Los Angeles Rams defeated the Cincinnati Bengals by a score of 23-20. I've been chilling, I've been relaxing, but still keeping my eye on all things in the NFL. So let me start by saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm so happy and so thrilled to be back. Welcome to Monday Evening Quarterback, the podcast. My name is Christian Simpson. I am the creator, the founder, the CEO, the NFL, and college football analyst of a brand called the Daily Blitz, where we specialize in all things football 24/7, 365. And look, I know the madness is going on with the men and women's tournament in college. Everybody's been watching that. I have brackets all throughout my house. I'm hosting a bracket challenge on ESPN.com. So if you're in that right now, thank you for joining. I hope your bracket is looking good, but not too good, because it is a competition amongst the great people. The NFL's decided to add some of their own madness to March as well. A lot has gone on. You would have thought some games were already being played. It's like action has happened without the game action. Some phases are staying put. Some phases have been traded. 3 new quarterbacks will be playing elsewhere next year. 3 big-name quarterbacks at that. One of those trades actually took place today. We're going to get into that. But since we're on the topic of quarterbacks, why don't we talk about one that many label as the greatest ever to do it? So, February 1st, Tom Brady announced that he was walking away from the NFL after 22 glorious years of service in the National Football League. Look, say what you want. Like him, love him, hate him, dislike him, root against his team every week. The man's the best ever to do it. Numbers don't lie. And I think what separates him from every other quarterback in NFL history is how he's consistently been on top for X amount of years, and how he just turns it up a notch come playoff time. Most Super Bowl wins by a quarterback with 7. Most appearances by a quarterback in a Super Bowl with 10. Holds damn near every record imaginable. But the one thing I kept saying about Tom was last year, he kept throwing the hell out the football. Now, I've been watching him for X amount of years, and I've been watching him just do it at the highest level for so long. But the fact that the ball has more zip when it leaves his hands now than I think it ever has. And he just puts a lot of muscle behind every pass, and had the best year of his career statistically last year. One of the best years of his career statistically. Threw 45 touchdown passes and could have easily won MVP, but that went to another guy that we're gonna discuss. I'm glad he's back. There's a hashtag that I use on social media when it talks about iconic figures, no matter the field, whether it's music, acting, or sports. Honor your legends. And I'm going to enjoy this. Now, do I think next year is it? It could be, because he said he did want to play until he was 45. But the way he takes care of himself, I really wouldn't be surprised if Tom played until he was 50. I'm serious. I can see him playing way into his late 40s, because he's just in great shape. He hasn't let himself go. Hasn't really been injured, but then there's that part of me that's saying, I want him to be able to walk away from the game on his own and not let an injury force him. Like, look at Ben Roethlisberger last year. He just looked awful. No disrespect, Ben, but he just looked terrible. Peyton Manning, he couldn't throw the ball his final year. That neck injury was really coming into the picture. And then Drew Brees, he was playing with 12 broken or fractured ribs and a punctured lung up until one point, and he couldn't really push the ball up the field either. And Tom hasn't really had any of those problems. I want to see what What he does this year, look, he makes Tampa the favorite, not just to win the NFC South, but potentially get to the Super Bowl. We talk about, was looking at the schedule with him coming back, some pretty good quarterback matchups with Tom Brady and some other guys. Plays Aaron Rodgers next year. Plays Patrick Mahomes again. That's been a little rivalry last couple years, where both guys have such an immense amount of respect for one another. Plays Joe Burrow for the first time. Plays Lamar Jackson for the second time. Has another battle with Matthew Stafford, which is one that's going to be really good. He'll be playing Kyler Murray for the first time, and then he'll be playing another quarterback that I'll be talking about who just got traded on Friday. But I'm glad he's back. You got to honor your legends, and you got to take advantage of these guys while they're still playing. You have to appreciate their greatness and give them their flowers while they can still smell it. I'm a big believer in that saying. Now, one of those quarterbacks I just mentioned, Aaron Rodgers. Last year was a soap opera with him. Charles Barkley couldn't have worded things any better with him. He's like that girl that you have to tell she's pretty all the time, just so she can be confident, and he's not wrong about that. You gotta love Chuck. Aaron is going back to the Green Bay Packers on a 3-year deal, about $150 million. Now, look, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the money, because the last 2 years, he's been playing out his mind. This may be the best stretch of football I've seen from Aaron Rodgers ever. 2020, he was on a completely different level. Threw those 48 touchdown passes. Last year, he throws 37. Both seasons, the Packers win 13 games. They win the NFC North, and they're the 1 seed in the NFC. Not denying that. I think, Aaron has been absolutely phenomenal. But what are you going to do in the playoffs? Because you've yet to reach a Super Bowl since the last one you won, which was in 2000, during the 2010 season, when the Green Bay Packers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dallas at Jerry World. Something's got to give. Like, come on, Aaron, can I get another appearance? You've won more MVPs than you've won playoff games in the last couple years. I know there's been some issues with your teams. You don't have a running game to lean on. Now you do, and Aaron Jones. Didn't have a defense to lean on. Your defense played pretty damn well last year. I simply put that playoff loss against the San Francisco 49ers in January on you, number 12, because you're not going to win a playoff game scoring 10 points, especially when you have that offense and that firepower. Can't even blame your defense for that one, because they kept you in the game for a majority of it. And they played pretty well, so you can't even point the finger at the defense. But when are you going to do something, Aaron? Like, you're way too talented to not be in Super Bowls year in or year out, or at least every other year. You haven't been back since the one you won. And the Packers, to have 2 legendary quarterbacks play for that franchise, to only have 2 Super Bowls to show for it, that's not a good look. Yeah, and then the Packers made another move. Now, first, they decided to franchise tag Davante Adams, and he said he wasn't playing under the franchise tag. And to be honest, I do not blame him, because Davante has been one of the 2 or 3 best wide receivers in football the last couple years. I remember when he was a 4th option. He was, I don't want to say an afterthought, but he wasn't the guy that you were targeting first behind Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb a couple years back when he first broke into the league. But the last couple years, the Packers have built that offense around Davante, and he's really emerged as one of, I think, the best players in the National Football League. He's a separation artist, so he has the ability to lure defenders in, fake as if he's going one way, and then he's up the field. He just has phenomenal footwork to complement his skill set and his agility. And he's one of the best route runners in the National Football League. Now, I'm sure you were as stunned as I was when this news broke out, but Devontae Adams was traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. Which leads me to my next point about his former quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is selfish. Oh, don't worry. I can explain what I mean by that. Because look at Tom Brady. We year in and year out, Tom takes less money, right? He restructures his deals. And it's the mindset of two things. One, re-sign who we can, because hopefully they can still contribute to the team. And B, go out and spend that money that I restructured on guys who can come in and help us win. It's all about winning with Aaron Rodgers. It's not about, with Tom Brady. Excuse me. It's all about winning with Tom Brady. I can't really say that about Aaron Rodgers. Did Aaron Rodgers deserve to get paid? Absolutely. But, Aaron should have restructured the deal because I know Devontae was his guy, but money talks. Now, Devontae gets to go to a division that's made quite the splash this offseason. The AFC West, and he's going to get to play with his former college quarterback now, and Derek Carr. Both went to Fresno State. But let's talk about that NFC West because this division has been stacking up left and right. The Raiders, outside of Devontae, they get Chandler Jones, and they re-sign Max Crosby, which was a great move. Chandler brings another guy who can consistently rush the passer. Like, Max was the only guy who could get to the quarterback last year. Then you add Devontae, so that's one team that did some work in the offseason in the AFC West. You look at the Los Angeles Chargers. You acquire Khalil Mack from the Chicago Bears. You sign J.C. Jackson, a former Patriot, to a free agent contract, and you sign Sebastian Joseph Day, who knows Brandon Staley really well. So he gets to stay put in the same stadium, but just will be playing for the Los Angeles Chargers this time. And like I said, he knows Brandon Staley, so the Chargers have really gone all in on defense. And on top of that, offensively, they signed Mike Williams. Now, I remember off the microphone, I was talking to one of my radio guys, and I said, if Mike Williams is going to be a free agent, the Chiefs should try and go get him because they need that possession receiver. Because they don't have that. They have speedsters. You can only work with speedsters for so long and do so much with them. But the Chargers were able to re-sign him. There's no excuses for the Chargers. They spent all this money. Anything less than a playoff appearance is an absolute failure. Hopefully the coach doesn't make any boneheaded mistakes. So we took care of the Raiders and the Chargers. The Chiefs made a little move themselves. They signed Juju Smith-Schuster to a one-year deal. The former Pittsburgh Steeler. Can't wait to see how he's going to be used, and I think they're going to use him in different ways. I always called him like the second coming of Hines Ward's with Pittsburgh because they used him in that type of role. The guy that could block, the guy that could make that catch over the middle to convert the chains. So I think he'll get on the same page with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Patrick Mahomes. They're going to use him in a variety of ways. But how about the Denver Broncos? Now, I know a lot of Denver Bronco fans. My one friend, Vanessa, is a diehard Bronco fan. A former teammate of mine, Danny Bowers, is a huge Broncos fan. Now, it's been rough in Denver since Peyton Manning retired because it's been a rotating carousel of quarterbacks since he decided to call it a career. And where's he at now? The Hall of Fame. I think they've had about 10 or 11 different starting quarterbacks, and Teddy Bridgewater was the last. Now, Teddy wasn't bad, but he wasn't good either. He was just in between, and that's just the type of guy he is. He isn't a guy that's going to get in the shootouts because he's not that type of quarterback. He is cut from the Alex Smith cloth, right? The Denver Broncos acquired Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks, and this is a great move because, one, it makes Denver a playoff team. I'm not going to say Super Bowl contender because I still think there are some teams in the AFC who are better than them. Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Baltimore when healthy are probably teams that I would take over Denver right now. But Russell, He's a top 5 quarterback, and I'd be crazy if I didn't do this because it's such a hit with some people. But I sing a little song. His name is Russell, last name Wilson. um, I've really seen him develop into a great leader in the quarterback that he is now. Because when he first came into the league, let's be real, he didn't really have to do that much. He was a game manager, just hand the ball off, make your throws. Most importantly, don't turn the ball over and don't lose us the football game. Now, he can take matters into his own hands. No guy puts velocity on deep passes and zip more than Russell, better than Russell Wilson. He is absolutely remarkable, and he's going to turn Denver back into that playoff contender that we know they're capable of being. Yeah. So the AFC West is stacked. I mean, that's going to be an interesting division. Now, I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Kansas City Chiefs necessarily, but I still think they win the division because they have the best chemistry amongst everybody, and that says a lot. All these other teams are going to be trying to figure out how to play with one another, whereas Kansas City, they've been the same team with a couple of pieces here and there coming in and out for the last 4 or 5 years or so. So that definitely does make a difference. I know another move that we can discuss before I go to the phone lines. The Cleveland Browns. Now, they've made their fair share of moves this year. A couple weekends ago, they acquired a Kamari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys and really didn't give up a lot to get him. Now, I want to say this about Amari. He's one of the best route runners in football. Like, I know we talk about Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and Stephon Diggs, and rightfully so, but from a route running perspective, you have to put Amari in there because it's the separation, it's how he's able to free himself, how he can just trick people with his footwork. That's what sets everything apart, sets everything up for him. It's the footwork, the ability to cut on a dime, place that foot down, cut back inside, and just, go about his business. And he makes every catch. He can run every route consistently. Cleveland did release Jarvis Landry. Wonder what the best fit is for him. I'd like to know what you guys think about that. But the biggest move Cleveland made is they have a new quarterback now. They acquired a guy named Deshaun Watson. I think you heard of him. The kid from Clemson, played for the Houston Texans, didn't play last year because of his legal situation. And they gave up a lot for him. They were suckered in, and Houston wanted those 3 first-round picks over the next couple of years, and they got him. Look, when Deshaun's healthy, Deshaun's a top 10 quarterback. No, can't even say when healthy. When he's on the field, he is a top 10 quarterback. And Deshaun just impacts the game in so many ways. And me being a former defender, whenever I see him in the pocket and you think you have him and just his ability to elude pressure, it puts a defense on its toes, especially a defensive line, because you just never know what you're going to get from him. He makes every throw. He can move the pocket. He can make throws on the run. Coming to Cleveland now, he's in a situation where he has a running back to lean on, has a pretty solid receiver to lean on, and Amari Cooper. The running back is Nick Chubb, by the way. Pretty good offensive line. Defense that's pretty good by that's led by Myles Garrett. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, but I don't know if it's enough. Because you look at their division. That division is going to be intriguing too. I'm talking about the NFC West, but I look at not the NFC West, the AFC West. I look at the AFC North. Pittsburgh is still going to be in the running, even with Mike, because they have Mike Tomlin. He's one of the best head coaches in football for a reason. Cincinnati, not only did they win the division last year, they won the AFC. Baltimore is coming back healthy, and then you have these Browns. So these 4 are going to beat up on each other consistently this upcoming season. I do Deshaun was going to get traded, and now he's going to be a Brown, and that's another quarterback matchup we're going to get featuring Tom Brady. He plays Deshaun Watson again. I think they played about 3 or 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. Why don't we go to the phone lines for a second? Why don't we go to the phone lines? It's one of my favorite aspects of the show, and why don't we hear what, a listener had to say? But I'm here at my phone lines for the show, and I actually have a caller on the line right now. Caller, you're on with the analyst on Monday Evening Quarterback. How can I help you today?
Yes, sir. So, obviously, it's been a wild offseason in the NFL so far. I'm curious to who you think at this point has been the biggest off-season transaction and who's the best piece available for which team.
Okay, now before I get into that, I want to know, who am I speaking with? Because remember, this is radio. This is me, this is you, and this is 1,000 other people listening and watching.
For sure. Yeah, I got you, man. This is Brad in Indy.
Brad in Indianapolis. What's going on, Brad? How you doing today?
What's up, man? I'm having a good day, enjoying the college hoop session.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about March Madness.
Hey, but you know what? I can say the NFL's kind of added their own little madness to everything that's been going on. Okay, Brad, so what's going on? What you got for me?
Yeah, man. Really wanted to see what you thought on the recent transactions. I know Deshaun Watson getting moved is probably the biggest piece, but impact-wise, do you think Deshaun's going to have a bigger impact? Do you think Devontae Adams going to Oakland, or not Oakland, but Las Vegas, is that going to have a bigger impact? What do you think is the biggest impact move and really boosted a certain team this offseason?
Yeah, Deshaun is big because, he gives him a playmaking quarterback, and he goes into a situation where he has a top 3 running back to lean on. I know they got rid of Jarvis Landry, but they did acquire Amari Cooper. I just wonder, is Cleveland really done acquiring and making moves? I mean, they gave up a lot to give Deshaun Watson. It almost seemed like a pressure move, in my opinion. Devontae Adams to the Raiders, that really surprised me because I don't think anybody saw that coming in. I don't know if you saw my take, but I think Aaron Rodgers is a little selfish. He knew what was going on. He took that money instead and didn't decide to, restructure his deal. He took the money for himself, whereas you look at a guy like a Tom Brady who's known for taking less money every year and encouraging the team, hey, put that toward the guys that we want to re-sign if we want to make another run, or go out and get guys that you feel can help our football team. And Aaron didn't do that, and that's why I think a lot of people have Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. But to answer your question, you know what move I think is really going to be an impactful move? I'm going to say Russell Wilson in Denver, because it's really been a rotating carousel amongst quarterbacks for the Denver Broncos since Peyton Manning retired. And where is he at now? He's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And they just haven't really had any type of stability or consistency. And Russell is still fairly young. He's still technically in the physical prime of his career. Hasn't really shown signs of slowing down. But that's the move I think is really going to have the biggest impact.
For sure. That's a good one. It kind of flew under the radar. It seems like forever ago that happened. There's been a lot of news the last couple weeks. One last thing I have for you, and that everyone in Indianapolis is wondering, who's the 6th quarterback in the 6th year for him? It seems like Baker wants to come here. I don't know if that's a great fit. Is that a real upgrade over Carson Wentz? I don't know, man.
I think Baker is actually a really good fit there. I was explaining this to somebody the other day. He kind of goes from one situation in Cleveland to somewhat of the same situation with maybe a little added more in Indianapolis. Great running game, just like he had in Cleveland with Nick Chubb. Great running game in Indianapolis with Jonathan Taylor. And you know my rule, you better have game if you have 2 first names. The offensive line is arguably the best in the National Football League, anchored by the best offensive lineman in the NFL, and Quentin Nelson. I mean, I remember a couple years ago, Brad, I interviewed a guy who is a beat writer for the Indianapolis Colts, and he said Quentin Nelson is the face of that franchise, and I couldn't agree with him anymore. And then he have a defense that could get him the ball back in short yardage situations and things like that. So I think Indy would be a great fit, but here's my thing. I put Baker Mayfield in that Jared Goff, Dak Prescott conversation, and what I mean by that is He needs a running game and play action to be successful, just like those other two. So that's the only way he can succeed, because with a straight face, can Baker Mayfield throw the football down the field 45 times a game? And do you think you have a chance to win a game with him? No, not at all. No, you wouldn't. He's just not that type of guy that can take matters into his own hands. But I think Baker would be a great fit. If not him, the Colts are going to go after Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sure. Do they have the pieces to do that? They don't have a first round this year, and that worries me. So,
hey, they're going to have to do something. I mean, it depends on what Cleveland would ask for. This is why you go to the trading table and the trading block.
yeah. I mean, they got Deshaun from Houston, and Baker did have almost a fake farewell at the moment. So, in terms of leverage, obviously he's going to be shipped, and I think Cleveland signed Jacoby Brissett today as well as backup. So Baker does seem to be on his way out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to keep Baker. I mean, what would you do? Yeah. What would you do? Play him in special packages? Right. So, yeah. Now, Brad, you got anything else for me?
Nah, man. I appreciate the answers. Love your content.
So, perfect. You just led me into my next question for you. I end every phone call by asking people what their favorite thing is about the Daily Blitz. And now I present that question to you. What's your Blitz?
Christian, my favorite thing about the Daily Blitz is you always keep it real. I love the content. Keep pumping out good info, man. I'll keep following.
Brad, I appreciate you for coming on. And there's another thing I always like to say. The doors of Monday Evening Quarterback are always open. You let me know when you want to come on. Enjoy the madness. Thank you again for coming on, and I hope you have a great week, okay?
Yes, sir. You too.
Man, I love doing those phone calls, with the listeners. You listeners are great. And as you're watching this show, you're or listening to this, whatever you want to say, you're probably wondering, okay, can I be a part of Monday Evening Quarterback? Absolutely. You can email me at c.simpson@thedailyblitz.blog, and then the subject line, put MEQ or put phone call. I'll know exactly what you're talking about. Just say, hey, can I record a phone call with you, and I will not turn you down. You just have to let me know when you have the time. Hopefully our schedules will mix, and yeah, man, I would love to have as many people on Monday Evening Quarterback as I possibly can, man. Huge shout out to my man Brad Pinkston in Indianapolis, Indiana, for coming on Monday Evening Quarterback, and kind of gave me a good segue into the next team I wanted to talk about, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, traded Carson Wentz. That experiment failed. They acquired a pretty well-known veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, it wasn't a matter of if Matt was going to be traded. It was a matter of when, and it finally happens today. I like the move. Look, Matt's way past his prime, man. I think now at this point, he can kind of manage things because he's going to have that running game to lean on, and Jonathan Taylor. And as I said then, you know the rule. You better have game. If you have 2 first names, it's only right. Comes in with that great offensive line, a pretty good defense, better than anything he ever had when he was in Atlanta. And does it make them a playoff team? Possibly, but there's a lot of firepower in the AFC because you have Kansas City, you have Buffalo, you have Cincinnati. So you have those 3 right there, right? But then you got to factor a healthy Baltimore in there. The Chargers could be good. New England, Belichick is always going to have his guys ready to play. Tennessee with a healthy grown man, better known as Derrick Henry. And they released Julio Jones, but then acquired a wide receiver and Robert Woods from the Los Angeles Rams. Just thought I'd get that out the way since we were on the subject of the AFC South. Yeah, the AFC is stacked, man. So there's a very distinct possibility. There could be a team that wins 10, 11, maybe even 12 games, and they missed the playoffs. It happened a couple years ago with the Miami Dolphins. They won 10 games. They were on the outside looking in. But, yeah, I think Matt Ryan can help the Colts. This is the Colts' sixth new starting quarterback in 6 seasons. Matt Ryan now, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett, Scott Tolzien, and Andrew Luck. Crazy. They just need some type of stability, and I think they're gonna end up drafting a guy the next couple years because Matt can probably give them 2 or 3 more years tops. And then they got to go in a direction where it's time to develop and groom the next quarterback. Let's talk about another team in the AFC, the Buffalo Bills. Now, they kind of came out of left field last week. Now, a lot of you know I love Von Miller. Like, I loved him in college, loved him with Denver, thought he was great for that locker room in LA. And now he is going to be going back to the AFC. The Buffalo Bills have signed him to a 6-year deal now. Von Miller's 32. He may be somewhat slowing down, or he's past his prime. I won't say he's slowing down, but his game, he can take over. And if you don't try and double him, he will get home with everything. He can beat you with a variety of moves. He can bull rush you. He can dip underneath. And he can just beat you with a pure speed rush. And he's always low. One thing I always talk about in my analysis, because I learned this when I played, your coaches can't stress it enough. In those trenches, the lowest man wins. I talk about this with Cole Johnson all the time. And he agrees with me every single time that I say it. I look at Buffalo. Is this the piece that could put them over the top? Because I feel Buffalo was knocking at that door. I know the same team has sent them home the last 2 years, the Kansas City Chiefs, but is this the year where they can finally put it all together? Only time will tell. But yeah, Buffalo has a fairly good defense. I know they lost Tre'Davious White last year to a torn ACL, but Tremaine Edmonds, Gregory Rousseau, I think Gregory is going to learn a lot from Von Miller, a guy who's done it all. And he's a veteran. Gregory is still a young guy coming out the U last year. Had a pretty good impact on that Buffalo defense last season. Now, let's talk about Von's former team, the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford, they acquired him in 2021. And I like the move because I kept saying to myself, look, maybe this is the piece that could help the Rams. It's no disrespect to Jared Goff, but you weren't going to win a Super Bowl with Jared. That's just facts. But when I look at Matthew Stafford, he was never the problem in Detroit. And you saw that. Finally put him in a system with some weapons and an offensive-minded coach, and look how he thrived. He had the best year of his career, and it led to what? A Super Bowl ring. Now he has one. I think Matthew Stafford gets the short end of the stick a little too much. I'll just come out and say it right now. Without Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson's not a Hall of Famer. Sorry, not sorry. He broke many records with Matthew Stafford as his quarterback, and the Rams rewarded him this year. They signed this weekend with a contract extension. They signed him to a 4-year deal worth $160 million, and $135 million of that is guaranteed. He's a gunslinger. He's been like this since his college days. I mean, he gives his wide receivers and his weapons on the outside a chance, because he can extend plays. He can make throws on a run. Throws it with a lot of zip and a lot of authority and confidence, and those are the guys you want to play with. I'm glad they were able to reward him and keep him around for the foreseeable future. He can still give them some more quality years. He and Sean McVay were a match made in heaven, and I'm happy that they were able to get a deal going. The Rams also signed Allen Robinson. Oh my God. Rams signed Allen Robinson to a free agent deal, and he gives Matthew Stafford another guy that can stretch the field vertically with Cooper Kupp and Van Jefferson, healthy Tyler Higbee at tight end, run the football. This Rams team isn't going to fall off too much. I think they're going to be right there. Once again, I think they're the best team in the division right now. They can win that division. They can go far in the playoffs, and don't be surprised if they're playing in Arizona next year in the Super Bowl. Once again, they figured out how to win. They've tasted the champagne, and they feel they can get back there again. Unfortunately, this meant that there was no room for Robert Woods, and they traded Robert to the Tennessee Titans, and that's actually a good move. Now, Robert Woods is cut from the Reggie Wayne cloth. A guy that can go over the middle, make that block, but make that catch to convert the chains, and I think he's going to do well in Tennessee. I love the tribute Cooper Kupp gave to him when they won the NFC Championship. He pretty much said, look, we're not here without Bobby Trees. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees. Okay, maybe it wasn't that funny to you, but it made me chuckle. So yeah, it's been a wild NFL offseason. I was just telling one of my friends that I think the craziest thing, this is one of the more wild off seasons we've seen in 10 years. Because 2012, Junior Seau, unfortunately, took his life. Sean Payton was suspended for knowing about Bounty Gate and not putting it in. So knowing about it is just as bad as committing the crime. And Peyton Manning signed with the Denver Broncos, but a lot more has happened this year than it did then. And Drew Brees re-signed with the New Orleans Saints as well. Now I'm gonna answer a couple of questions. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions. This is normally how I end the show. So this question comes from Joe Grisso. He asks, is anyone going to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, or will the 49ers just cut him? If they can't find a trade partner, he will be cut. But I think the team that's going to go after Jimmy Garoppolo is the Carolina Panthers. They need something at quarterback because Sam Darnold's not it. I think you insert Jimmy in Carolina, they'll be more of a competitive team. I mean, look, let's not Jimmy here, because look at what he was able to do. The 2 years he was healthy in San Francisco. 2019, he's healthy. They're a Super Bowl team, right? They win the NFC. Last year, healthy, goes on a run. They're a game away from the Super Bowl. So let's not knock Jimmy Garoppolo. That's what I think is going to happen. But with that being said, guys, it's been fun. I was so happy to be back. I will run another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback the week of the NFL draft. So be on the lookout for that. Or if anything else happens and I just want to get to the microphone and talk to you guys about it, I will do it. I'll let you guys know ahead of time. But as always, man, I always end the show by shouting out my family, my beautiful mother. Love you so much. My sister, Taylor, I love you to life. My son, a.k.a. my dog, Siebes, he's around here somewhere. He was clawing at my door, so that was his way of saying hey to y'all. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, a lot of my closest friends, Josh, Robert Butler, Candace Carter, Kim L. Fryer, Jason Tyree, my other guys, Corey Harris, Deshaun Elliott, Rob Carter, Alex Bennett, or as I call him, AB, my guy Velo, my other guy Alex, but I call him Esquire, Mike Griffin, and I can't forget everybody that I have contributed for. We'll be here all day if I list all of you, but just know you are appreciated. And my co-analyst, Mr. Cole Johnson, better known as Coach, and our moderator, D, man, I can't thank you guys enough. My dad, love you to life as well. I gotta have you on the show as well. Make sure you guys go check out his show when he does bring it back. That's Mid Mornings with Michael Clay. But yeah, I'm going to end the show. How can you keep up with me? Log on to the website, which is thedailyblitz.blog. Follow us on Twitter at Daily Blitz _61. Like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/ The Daily Blitz, and follow us on Instagram at The Daily Blitz _61. You want a t-shirt, let me know. I will get you the link to the merchandise shop so you can go and get you some merch with the logo on it, and send me a picture of whatever you have. Send it to me and I will put it on the website and on my Instagram with your consent, of course. How can you keep up with me throughout the radio now? During the regular season, you can keep up with me Monday Evening Quarterback. That's never going to change. And the second season of that starts Monday, September 5th, 2022. I thought I'd just announce it now, and I'm going to announce it on social media as well. Every Monday night during the season, you can catch me on a Prime with David Hoffman, Israel Rivera, Matt James, TJ Hopkins. Same every Tuesday night on the Prime with those four. Every Wednesday, you can catch me on the Nerd Zone with Ronnie Kumpf, Christopher Lawrence, John Danzo, Ryan Shaw. I love working with those guys, as I do every show that I've been given the chance to work to. You can catch me on the Sports Cave with Nicholas Russell, Roy Herman. The gang is back together from the sports den. Can't wait to get the show flowing and going with those guys every Friday. During the college football season, you can catch me on College Football Showdown with Israel Rivera, Matt James, and when he feels like showing up, TJ Hopkins. And every Sunday, you can catch me on WCPT 820 AM in Chicago with Michelangelo Mercado, Paul Shivari, and Devin Tingle on the Sports Cubicle. And if you live outside the state of Illinois but still want to tune in to support, I will gladly send you the link. I've had a lot of fun recording this. Hopefully I can do it again. If anything comes up, throw me some topics you want me to talk about on Monday Evening Quarterback, and I'll gladly get to the microphone and talk about it and discuss it. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I have fun recording it for you. Enjoy the madness. Love the people in your life, because life is too short. Give people those flowers now while they can still smell them. Do not hold a grudge today. Forgive them. Let that hurt go, okay? I will see you guys soon. Continue to send me your football questions, and just have a great week, okay? I will see you.